Sorry about that. Hello everybody and welcome back to another review. I'm sure a whole bunch of you saw this coming because if you watched my Friday reads, you know that I was reading Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas, and pretty much like an hour after I put that video up, I'd finished this. I'm currently reading Crown of Midnight, and I know I say I don't talk about series until they're finished, but I just made a massive exception with the Bone season, so I had to make an exception with Throne of Glass because, you guys, we need to talk about this book. So, fun little story about this book. I know I already mentioned it in my Friday reads, but I have been dying for this book for so long. Ever since I think I saw someone first haul it and describe it, and then people start sort of giving spoiler-free reviews of it, I've been going, you had me at female assassin, okay, why is this book not in my life? And then when people were saying that Crown of Midnight, the sequel, was like even better, and then they were saying the most recent bind-up of all the e-novellas was freaking amazing, I'm going, why is this book not in my life? Why were you not in my life? So I'd been dying for it, and I had an arc. It was actually Of Point by Granny Colbert. I put it up for trade on the YA Book Exchange because I kind of no longer wanted it and I wasn't going to read it again. And I was contacted by Alyssa at Eater of Books. I will put her URL here and then I will also link her down below. She actually just put up a review of Point. She's really, really cool. I've been reading through her reviews. She's really great. She sent me an email saying, hey, I saw your wish list. You've Throne of Glass in there. I've got an extra paperback of it. Do you want it? Because she really wanted Point. And I was just like, yes, okay, yeah, your address, ASAP, I will ship Point to you, just, oh my gosh, Throne of Glass. Seriously, I got this in like under, like a couple weeks. It was awesome, came way sooner than I thought it was going to. I was so excited, and thank you so much, Alyssa. Oh my god, you guys, this book was freaking awesome. For those of you who are unaware, Throne of Glass is an epic kind of high fantasy novel that's taking place in a fictional realm, and our protagonist, the gal you see on the cover, is Celaena Sardothien. She was known as the Ardalan assassin until 12 to 13 months prior to the opening of the story. She was apparently betrayed, caught, and captured, whisked through a sure masquerade of a closed-door trial, and sent off to what is essentially a death camp. They're called salt mines, but in reality, it's a death camp. She's been enslaved there in chains for a year, working in these mines, treated even more brutally than the other prisoners because of her notoriety. And then, as we open with the book, she gets a visitor. That visitor is our sort of quasi-rebellious prince, Dorian, who says, my father is hosting a contest. All the nobles and lords and high-ranking men of the kingdom are each sponsoring a champion. The winner gets to become essentially the official assassin for the crown. And he looks and he goes, well, the thing is, you become the official assassin for the crown for like X number of years. She negotiates it down to 4, actually. And then you get your freedom. And that is what causes Celaena to say yes. The idea of total true freedom, something she admits throughout the book she's never really experienced, even as an assassin. Because when she was an assassin, she was essentially paying back a debt to the assassin king whom had raised her and trained her. The rest of the book is essentially spent with Celaena returning to the kingdom, trying to keep her identity hidden from the other champions, training for the competition, going through the competition, and all of her interactions with a couple of the other champions, with Dorian the prince, and with Kale, who is the captain of the guard, and sort of Dorian's really good friend in a way. I really loved the world building. It was ridiculously subtle. There weren't any info dumps that were put in. All of the really good information on the world and kind of what's been happening was revealed through dialogue and through atmosphere. Speaking on atmosphere, I know a couple criticisms of this book have been that Ms. Maas is overly descriptive, and while the book is very description heavy, I love it. Now, that could just be because I majored in film production and film studies as well as English literature, and so I'm a very visual thinker. I love very visual, very sensory novels. I love being given all sorts of great description to let me know what this world is really like. And Ms. Maas is very descriptive, but for me it just makes it really cinematic, and I'm a huge fan of that. But this also means that the learning curve in this book is really nice. I talked about learning curve before in my review of the Bone season, and I mentioned that the learning curve is essentially the rate at which a reader has to be introduced acclimated to and then comfortable with the fictional world in which they're entering. And the learning curve in this one is really, really nice. It's a really even pace, and there's nothing where it gets really too difficult to understand or where you feel like someone's pandering to you. As for the characters, Dorian, the slightly rebellious kind of crown prince who doesn't get along with his father and is bored with royal life, he's fun. If I were to put him up against Chaol, who's the captain of the guard, I found Chaol a little more interesting, but Dorian was just sort of fun. Like, I kind of want him to be my friend because he has really good intentions most of the time. Chaol, the captain of the guard, is very much the straight man. He views the world, when we meet him, in a very black and white sense, in that there's bad, there's good. He looks at Celaena, she's an assassin, he goes, bad. You will clearly have basically no honor, no dignity, no integrity. You're not going to be real complex or a deep thinker. I mean, you kill people. That's what you do. Why would you have any of those qualities? Because you're bad. And we watch how his interactions with Celaena actually throw a complete wrench in his worldviews, and he has to re-examine whom he is. And it's actually done extremely well, and I loved the way it continues on through Crown of Midnight so far, but through the entirety of the novel, this is a nice, even change for him, and I think it's done really well. And then we have Celaena, our assassin, our main character. This girl is fucking awesome. There is no other word for this girl except total badass. I love Celaena. She's one hell of a fighter, and it makes sense because she talks about her education as an assassin, and she goes, since I was found by the Assassin King at the age of like 7 or 8 as an orphan, she goes, I have been trained in the art of killing people. He sent me all over the realm to the best people in every land to be able to kill people and be the best at what I do. So it makes sense that she was literally the best at what she does. And I also love that while she accepts the prince's deal, and she sort of comes to actually sort of care a bit for the prince, for Dorian, and for Chaol, she never lets them believe for 1 second that she's not dangerous. And she never for 1 second reminds them that she has zero loyalty to the crown and that she would gladly, in an instant, kill most of them, and she wouldn't bat an eye. She goes, that's what I do. I have no fancy moral values. I love that. She's very honest with herself. What I also like is that she has different sides to her. She's girly, and she likes dresses and shoes and candy, and she plays music, and she loves to read. And you realize that she's way more well-rounded than so many other female leads in YA fiction. Oh my god, I love Celaena, she was great. Of course, there is sort of a romantic triangle-esque thing happening, but I think it's done really well. In the case of Celaena, we learned that basically a month prior to her capture, her lover was killed, and she's fairly certain he was betrayed, just as she's fairly certain she was betrayed. So while Celaena doesn't reveal exactly whom it was she thinks betrayed her, I know I have a theory. We know through what she intimates that she's really afraid she's right in whom it was betrayed her. So you realize this is something that if and when she has to come and face it, which I'm assuming she will, it's gonna hurt if she's right. In addition to that, I love the way that Dorian, the prince, sort of becomes infatuated with her and comes to care for her. And Celaena actually makes a really good point to him. She says, whether or not you do genuinely care for me, because he does sort of seem to, and I'm fine with that, you're more attracted to the idea of me. She goes, you're attracted to the idea of pissing off your father, of shocking the kingdom, of throwing this huge amount of chaos into the pristine, ordered court life by dating an assassin. It's more about the adventure than it is about me. And I think she's spot on right there, because I remember reading this and thinking the same thing, and I went, you tell him, girl. But at the same time, Celaena frequently goes, yeah, he's hot, I'd tap that. And I'm like, you go, girl. At least you know it's very much because he's good looking. There's nothing wrong with admitting that he's good looking. Chaol, on the other hand, as I said, she completely baffles him. Celaena throws a wrench in his worldview because he realizes that she likes to read and she's well read, and she does have a sense of honor. She can speak a couple different languages, and he's sort of shocked by all of this, and he comes to genuinely care for her. And because he's also training her for this competition, he wants her to stay safe. He wants her to win. And as he says, there's a point where he realized he doesn't just want her to win because she's Dorian's champion. He kind of wants her to win because he wants her to stick around. She's sort of lively and something he's never experienced. And he goes, I just like having you around. I love the relationship that comes between Chaol and Celaena over the course of this book and how it's continuing through Crown of Midnight. Admittedly, I'm not real far on Crown of Midnight right now, so. In addition to that, the fantastical elements, the kind of magic and fantasy elements, I thought were really good. The action is phenomenal in this book. Oh my goodness. Obviously, I mean, this is a competition between assassins and soldiers and stuff, so there's going to be fighting and challenges, and I was just almost breathless in the finale. I was sitting there going, oh my god. I mean, if you want a complete, accurate portrayal of how I was while reading it. Oh god. Oh. Nope, 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 nope. Okay. Okay. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. This is so not okay. I'm not gonna be okay. Oh god, 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 oh god. Okay. I can do this. I can do this. I can survive this. I can survive this. No, I can't survive this. I can't survive this. I'm not gonna make it. I'm not gonna make it. Yeah, that was pretty much me while reading this book. I was totally in the action, freaking out. I was just like, oh, what are words? If you are at all a fan of action and fantasy, really kick-ass lead characters, especially ones that happen to be girls. The boys are pretty kick-ass too. I mean, I'm just going to say the guys are pretty kick-ass too. Some really good mystery and intrigue, and a book that is not only just an amazing first book in a series, it's just an amazing book. There were just enough questions to keep me wanting more and ready for the sequel, but not so much that I sat there going, like, really? You didn't tell me anything. I think there's some good little nibbles and bits left for me to have my questions and go into Crown of Midnight and maybe get some answers. I do know this is going to be a 6-book series. I'd actually originally thought it was going to be a trilogy, and then I looked it up and it's like, no, it's a 6-book series. And I went, oh, okay. 6 books is good. I can do 6 books. 6 books is good. And that tells me this is going to be a massive story. And this is a series, I think, which will lend itself well to a massive story. So if, for some reason, you have not yet started or read Throne of Glass, you need to read Throne of Glass. You need this in your life. Thank you again to Alyssa for trading with me this book, because I'm so happy right now. So yes, that is all for me today, you guys, and so until next time, cheers.